And we're back for another episode of Starch. Alright, it's me, Winslow, and we're going to go over arrangements and drum and bass tunes today, which is something I'm getting a ton of questions about. Everyone wants to know. It's really like a mind-racking topic a little bit. It seems simple. It is pretty simple. I'll try to break it down into something pretty simple. Got my notes. All right, so let's jump right into it. So most tunes, let's see, who knows? How long are most drum and bass tunes? Between like 3.5 minutes to however long you want, especially when you get older tunes, like the jungle ones that go on forever with like 3-minute intros with no drums and no, you guys know. Anyway, so 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 3 minutes, 4. Those like 2-minute tracks aren't like anything. So let's go for an overview. Most tunes have, let's look at the notes, even though I know this. So between like a 32 and 64 bar intro, same for the drops. And then the break is normally 16 to 32. So if you can like eyeball these tunes while I'm talking, most of them follow that. Like all of these, except for the short one, the last one, is 48 bars. Basically, if I could sum up everything, too long, didn't watch, 16 bars, that's what you want to focus on. Groups of 16 bars. So like the intro would be 48, that's 3 16s. 16 bar, some drum loop, 16 bar, a few more drum loops in the bass sound, another 16 bars that builds into the drop, like this one. And then, drop 16, 16, you have A and B section, which we'll get into later because this is only part 1. And notes. All right, so let's go with the intros first. For these examples, top 4 tracks are all 48 bar intros, I believe. And then the last one, I wanted to pick a short tune just to see let you guys see. It's still focused on 16 bars, but they're in smaller grouping. So you can think of more happening in less time, or like things don't develop. Like if you have like a rolling tune, it might take forever to build up, start sparse or really big. Then you break things down or build it up, roll it along, that kind of thing. But for example, let's go to the first tune list, which is mine. Anyway, so yeah. Then you have like some drums, a little something else. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing or all these tunes because they're kind of long and you probably all know them anyway. See, they have 2 more elements come in, a little, I don't know what to call it, just like pans back and forth. And you hear like a nice synth in the background, and some brass. Skip it along. You got like a little riser, another vocal thing. Can't hear me. Another riser and like a little vocal thing going on. Still, sections of 16. This is a 30-second bar, up to the 48th. Enough.
Got a lot of balls coming in here.
See, 48 bars of an intro, 3 groups of 16. It doesn't have to be like 48 or, no, it doesn't have to be like a certain number, as long as it's pretty much in groups of 16s. Shorter tracks can be groups of 8 if you want to really push things along. But 32, 64 bars. You can't go wrong with that, pretty much. You can go longer if you want to really like develop things, All right, let's go with this tune. It's a new tone. Say that you'll, like you guys probably know this. Same like concept. Like sparse intro, some percussion. Just like a little synth loop. Just give it along. Another drum loop. A more open filter on that synth. And then the vocal comes in, or part of it. And there's a kick. See? Now that like added something within like 8 bars. Or 16. You can do that. Then instead of going straight into like a drop, it goes into a break, which you can consider like its own section, or like still in like the grand scheme of the song, it's still the intro, because it's building to this fat part right here. So now you have like a vocal. You have the vocal introduced, which is pretty much what you do to ready for the rest of the tune. That's what the intro is. It introduces elements to the tune. So like the drums, the effects, maybe some loops here and there, but it doesn't like really full on get everything going. You're not really dancing during the intro. It's more like for mixing. Let's skip ahead. Then the drop is, everyone's favorite part. It's where the whole tune kicks in, people dance, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it for intros. You can see the rest of these are the same. It's the same concept. You start small, build towards a break or the drop. With music, it's really big on tension and release. So you have like nothing going on, then you have more parts that builds tension, and then it gets more and more and more, and that's when you're like building and building and building, and then you either break to like that last tune, say that you'll just a little bit to like, okay, here's what's coming. Oh shit. And then it drops to that drop, or you go just like say this one, or let's look at this too. Twilight Zone by S.P.Y. So like this one.
No one has really seen the sound. This is sort of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, you can just build chaotic, and then just bam, right into that ridiculous drop. I wish I was S.P.Y. Sometimes. So let's go back over to the intros. Yeah, between 32 and 64 bars, changing every 16 at like the least, just to keep things interesting. And then add eights if you want like a shorter thing, or you just have like little, like 16 for like major section changes, and then 8 for like if you want to stick little fills, keep things interesting, move it along. But still, like the more and more you produce, write your tunes, you'll figure out what works for you. Like I have my own structure. This pretty much like standard for me, but there's always like little breaks here and there, a little like turnarounds and fills and things that I do differently with each tune. But like breaks are always this. What is this? Oh, it's 64 bars, almost 48. I don't know, math. 32. Breaks are normally 32 bars, because any shorter, and I feel like I'm rushing like the development, and any longer, it's just like no one wants to listen to that nowadays, But yeah, let's go into drop sections. So you can see here we have a 64. I'm not a math. 32, 30. Whatever. You have a long section here full of, so yeah, 64. So like drop section. You can go hard at the start, which most tunes do, or you can build. And this one builds. See, 8 bars, something new happens, weird effect. Nice feel. Skip ahead. Skip. Just builds. This one's like a real just rolling tune, just builds and builds. I'm never really good at these, but I think I kind of pulled this one off a little bit. Then skip. Yep, builds into that break, and then that break builds again, and then it's sort of like a rehash of the first part. Let's go back to Twilight Zone. This one kind of has the same structure,
This is sort of the Twilight Zone.
Like S.P.Y. So there's pretty much like a ton of breaky stuff going on. Then like effects and Twilight Zone, all that. So he has like pretty much something changing every 8 bars. But the consistent like idea is still like on that 16-32, but
Twilight.
Okay, here's an interesting thing, which I'll get into in more depth later. So, like, it's still going, it's still the drop, but it kind of breaks a little bit. Like that tension and whatever that it built into is released, but it's not necessarily like down to nothing like the break is. It's just like you remove the drums, you got some bass, like still pulsating down there, but like the energy is still there. It's just kind of contained until it builds back into the more drum part.
Really seeing the sound. This is sort of the Twilight Zone.
Okay, so yeah, that's within like your however long your drop is. There's like different sections. Let's just like in any tune, you have like your A, your B section, your C section, your verse, chorus, bridge, intro, outro, that kind of thing. So there's always, let's say, sections within sections, which I'll go over more in like another part of this whole series, because it's something you can really go into to bring your tune more depth and more complexity. And yeah, it's really like learning that kind of, I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, let's take the shorter tune, Epigram by Krakota and Urban Dome. So you have intro, real sparse. It's everything's kind of filtered down. It's a really good technique like to introduce things. Ooh, like little stabs. Spooky. Shorter one, so you see how this is already like, you can feel it building into something more. Already like the 16th bar, which like these other tunes are more like they're still building into that really like here we go part. See? 32 bars is where it drops. You guys probably hate me for that. Here you go. See? Every 16, every 8, there's something new. Like a vocal stab, a new drum thing, or fill. Shakers just came in. That section I talked about previously with the Twilight Zone tune. It's like it's still the drop, but it's clearly building, or could you say building back down? Whatever. It's, the energy is going back down. It's kind of relaxing till it hits that break. Similar to that intro. And there is another topic which we'll be going over. The second drop. Do you make it the same as the first, or do you switch things up? And switch things up. It's always better. Like, you can go with the same as the beginning, but you don't want to like cut this section, copy and paste this section. It's like, nah, like people who produce will understand and know it's lazy. People who are real big listeners will know it's lazy. People who don't care, well, they don't really care. But you got to make them care. So yeah, second drops. They're, to get like a short example, it's just like, it's the first, but then like the first part, the first drop, and you just alter it a bit. My thing is always make it a lot more intense, or not necessarily intense, but like switch up the rhythms, take like the same progression and, you know, chop it up, move it around. I didn't do it in this tune. Terrible example. This is like the laziest tune I've ever made, but still pretty good. What is he doing? Good boy. It's Copper, by the way. It's the studio assistant. He's the reason for all the good breaks, because he breaks everything or chews it up. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know, as far as an overview goes. Oh, but you have this other tune. Let's just go through it real quick. It's Anomaly, Noisia. All intense and cinematic and everything you expect from Noisia. Anyway, 16 bars. You can see 8, 16.
Approaching first anomaly.
Yep, kind of breaks down again, so it can give you more energy to build. You know, it's the big mountains, valleys, and peaks. Valleys and peaks, if you didn't hear me. It's how you write a tune. You can have it go like hard the entire time, which is okay. It's kind of like an art on its own. You don't want to tire people out. You don't want to like get boring. You can only be so intense before everything's just like, what are you doing? But anyway. Texan. Alright, skip ahead because you have like that. Okay. You have a zoom in. I can see sections easier. Could have did that from the beginning. Whatever. Moving along. See right in here. There's one of those like alternate kind of sections. They're really good with doing that. And that second drop, now see in this case, with them, it's like so impactful that it's not like necessarily copy and paste, but it's virtually the same as the first part of the drop. As the first drop, which is, you know, it's cool. Like you don't have to change it, but if you have something like as heavy as they do, that just like it's perfect. You can just copy paste that, and then but later it's like switches on. So that's where that variation comes in. So yeah, I mean, it's like a quick, dirty overview. Hope you guys get the gist of that. So just to go back over things. So you have your intro, 32 to 64 bars of an intro. Then you have your first drop, like a break or anything. Again, it could be 32 to 64 or longer, 128. The rest of the tune could be a drop. Who knows? It's all about how you structure it and how you use the effective tension and release. So you can have your big parts, you can make small parts that don't necessarily die out like a break, but they're not like as loud and like pushing forward. They're kind of more relaxed, pulled back, and then they build, break down, build, break down. Then your breaks, 16, 32 bars. It's always going to be an asterisk or longer. then that second drop, switch it up a little, keep it the same. You'll figure out what works for you or works for the tune. Some tunes work with the same drop. Some tunes work with you switching it up just for halfway, maybe just for 32 bars. And then the next 32 are like from the other section. But yeah, then outros, it's more like a reverse intro. You build down to nothing, or you can build up to nothing. Again, it's all personal preference. But hopefully this helped. In the next video, I don't know which topic I want to try to cover first. But probably be just more in depth, like what I was talking about before, like the sections within sections. So say like you have a 64 bar drop, and every 32 or 16 or 32 bars is a different like section, say different energy. You know, like the first 16 is going for it. Next 16 you pull it back. Next 16 you're going hard again. Next 16 maybe you're going even harder, or you pull it back to, you know, release for the break. Who knows? But we'll talk about it next time. So I hope that helps. See you guys in the next one. And let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always easy to reach. Just drop me a message. Peace. No.